So today we begin with Reach Education Solutions, a private education consulting firm dedicated to increasing student achievement, improving the educational experience one school at a time by providing solutions for teachers and students alike. And here to share more is Reach Education Solutions President and Founder, Dr. Monica George Fields. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. And I know REACH is an acronym for something, right? So let's introduce the Reimagine Excellence and Achievement Consulting House to our viewers.
So Reach is a educational consulting firm. We work with schools, particularly schools that have students who live below or at the poverty level. Attend schools where it's considered hard to staff. So teachers who are there are usually on temporary licenses or are receiving their masters but not fully certified. Those are hard to staff schools. They're hard to staff schools also because of their academic performances. And so we usually attract to those types of schools because our intent is to ensure that all students have access to high quality education every day, all day. And in order to do that, you have to have high qualified teachers and school leaders.
And first, we got to be in the know, right? You're in the know.
Yes.
Which is why you designed this, right?
Yes.
It's just beautiful. So we're talking about 31 years of experience, right?
Yes.
And then we're talking about 13 years of being an actual consultant to districts and schools, right?
Yes.
And now, instead of just serving them at that level, you've broken it up into different segments or sections, right? Where
Yes.
you're actually helping the teachers, you're helping the principals, you're helping the students, you're helping. So talk to us about what that looks like, and even what inspired you to do this, having already been in it already.
Yes, so I started as a teacher in 1986. So I've been in education for 38 years in New York City, but I grew up in Harlem in a housing project, Grant Housing Project. And I was, along with my siblings, a part of the integration movement. And I found that leaving my community, having to go to another community to schools with students who didn't look like I looked like. It was Susanna Felix and I, and we were against the world. It was just the two of us, minority students in my classes in elementary school, and fewer even in the junior high school that I attended. I found that we asked students when we send them to schools outside of their community to acclimate to those environments and then come back to their community and try to be a part of it. And it actually does something to your psyche, to your mental health, to your social health, because the schools that you're attending are not prepared to have you. And some of them don't want you there.
Right.
Right.
And so you have to deal with that.
You have to deal with that. I mean, my introduction to my elementary school when I was 5 years old was the principal saying to my mother, "I hope this is your last one." And so, I had a teacher in one of the classes that I attended say to me, I said something in our history class. I asked a question, and she said, "If you were born during slavery, they would have lynched you."
Oh my
So
gosh.
when I, after returning from college, I went to law school and then decided I wanted to be a teacher. So I went into education, and I've been in education since. And my last job in New York City Department of Education was deputy supervising superintendent. So I was a supervisor for the city superintendents in New York City. And doing that work, I found that there was a lot of need, a lot of need for support. I was the principal. I hired consultants, so I know what's needed outside of the school, and hence we have Reach.
Right. And so, I mean, we can really get into
Yeah,
this,
I just
but we
said a
have to
lot,
talk-
right? I know.
Well, because unfortunately, we're still dealing with that
Exactly.
reality. But one of the things I do want to acknowledge is how you pointed out that you don't need to leave your neighborhood to get a better education, right? And that's a stigma that a lot of individuals who are raised in urban environments, myself included, you know, in which it's kind of like, oh, can't wait to get out,
Right.
right? But
Right.
this is about like, no, we're bringing it back.
Right.
We're bringing it back so that you don't have to even think like that, right?
That if you had a choice, the school across the street would be your choice.
Right, right, right. So let's talk about exactly like how you approach the schools and how you even qualify them for that matter. I mean, you already gave us some insight as to the ones that you're targeting, but how do you kind of assess like, okay, this is how we can move you to elevate the quality, which is what we're talking about.
Yes, it is what we're talking about. So when I left New York City Department of Education, I took a position at the state level. And in that position, I created the school and district review process for New York State that is still used to this day. So everyone knows it as the DTSDE, or the Diagnostic Tool for School and District Effectiveness, is a process that I created. I created the rubric, I created the process of how we go into schools and we review schools over a course of a 2-day period.
I didn't know we had a pioneer in the house.
Yes,
nice.
you do.
Thank you for sharing
Yes,
that.
yes. So that was my job when I worked with the Commissioner and Chancellor of New York State. And it is a tool that is a process that's used across New York State. It's actually written into law that schools that are identified as in need of improvement, so whatever level they're at, if they're at the bottom, the 10% lowest performing schools in the state, they must have some form of the DTSDE school review. And so typically, district superintendents and principals know me from that process because they know I created it. And so that's how we're contacted. But then I know people in education, I've been in it for 38 years, so people reach out and I talk to them about what is your intent. So
Right.
if they come to me and they say, we need help with mathematics, my question to the principal or superintendent is always, are you intending for your children to be able to do operations in math, 2 plus 2, or do you want them to become mathematicians?
Got it.
And if they say we want them to become mathematicians, then it's a school for us, and we will support the school and district.
Got it. Right, because there's different styles
There's
of
a
learning.
different style.
Right.
Exactly.
Got it. So I want to make sure that before we run out of time that we tap into the telomere project because
Yes.
first of all, I had to look up the words because I'm like, why would
So did I. You're not the only one.
So let's define it because this is also a project that serves that, but it's also a metaphor.
Yes.
It's very clever. It's poetic, actually.
So telomeres are the tips of your chromosome, and they actually serve to protect your body from diseases and ailments. And they naturally shorten over time through your lifespan. And it's why we have elders in our family and community who, when they're in their 70s and 80s, they say things like, I got the sugar, or, I can't eat that, it's too much salt, because they start to have diagnoses of having diabetes or cancer or hypertension and other ailments. However, a study at UCLA showed that more younger children, older teens, so people going to college, are being diagnosed with cancer, hypertension, having heart attacks. And unfortunately, my youngest daughter had her first heart attack at 18 when she was in college.
Oh, my.
And what I started to realize was that telomeres play a role in how you are exposed
Right,
to these
how you're
ailments.
exposed to it and how you're even able to
Yes.
fight it, right? Really,
Yes.
that's what it boils
How
down to.
you fight it, how
Right.
you prevent it,
Right.
and if you are exposed to prolonged areas or experiences of stress, you would be likely because your
shortens it.
telomeres are shortened,
Right.
and so now you're exposed
right.
to all of these ailments. And my daughter was 16 and had her associate's degree. I mean, she really pushed herself in education, and I didn't know until it was too late
Got it.
that she had experienced all type of racial adversity, and that she was really under high levels of stress while she was in school on
Right.
the Upper West Side.
Right.
So although I know as
Right.
as an adult,
Right, right.
we want our children to go to schools where they are going to be supported,
Right.
I still, as a parent,
Right.
did the same thing with my child.
Got it.
I took her out of the community
Right.
and sent her to a school, into an environment that
Right.
wasn't ready for her or
Right.
didn't want her.
Right.
But she persevered.
Right.
But it took a toll on her health.
Right, at the expense of
At
her
the
health.
expense of her health.
Got it, got it. You know, we can go in and they're already wrapping me, which is like a boo-hoo moment for me because you know, the Telomere Project, while we just discussed it from a medicinal perspective, it's actually a project that it encompasses a holistic approach to
Yes.
the way people are being taught, to the way people are teaching, the way people are learning, but that only comes with that level of consciousness, right? And so it starts in these conversations. And I hope we opened up something for you guys. I would love to go on and on and on, but before we go, we have to wrap. Just share with everyone where you want to see our viewers participate with Reach Solutions.
Well, I hope that they talk to their superintendents, their principals, teachers to get in contact with us at Reach. And we do have a social emotional program, Grace for girls and Power for boys. And it encompasses, is built on the Telomere Project. And it also helps teachers and other staff members learn how to support students who are in their schools, and kind of lessen the stress that students are under when they
Wonderful.
enter their buildings.
And that's accessible on the website.
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank
Doctor.
you. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, I could sit here and listen to you all day. You could tell you were a teacher. I'm like on my best behavior. I'm like, I wrote all the points down.
You did a great job. A+.
Oh yeah, everybody. Dr. Monica George Fields once again, Reach Education Solutions president and founder. And once again, we were speaking all things education from a holistic approach. The Telomere Project is something I think you guys should really take into consideration. And if you're interested in more information, you can visit reachsolutions.com. All right, stay tuned. There's more open when we return. Thank you.
Thank you.